Coming soon to a biology classroom near you. It's the epic tale of a villain so small yet so deadly. Will humanity find the power within to defeat this invisible enemy? Stay tuned for HIV Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The fiendish HIV virus marks CD4 T cells for destruction. These crucial immune cells are pivotal in organizing the body's defenses. Without them, invading infections and diseases thrive unchecked. Ladies and gentlemen, good day. Now we're going to jump on our discussion, which is entitled HIV Human Immunodeficiency Virus. And then we are the group 4. Jumping on the second slide, we're going to discuss the table of contents. The first one to be discussed is Introduction. Poem discussing about HIV awareness and a short explanation in regard to it. Second one, definition, a description about HIV. Third one, transmission. How is it spread amongst the victims? Fourth one, signs and symptoms, warning signs of the disease. Fifth one, diagnosis and testing. Tests that are conducted according to its diagnosis. Sixth one, treatment and management, methods in the treating the disease. Okay, so the third slide contains the continuation of the table of contents. So the seventh one to be discussed is prevention, ways of preventing the contamination amongst people. And the eighth one is gene therapy, its possible use in healing or treating the illness, which is HIV. And the ninth one is genetically modified organisms or GMOs, its possible use in healing or treating the illness HIV. And the conclusion is the 10th one to be discussed, which contains the concluding statements or overall summarization of the topic. HIV can hide silently for years, infecting partners unaware through intimate contact, even mothers passing it to their newborn babies.
Hi everyone, this is the introduction of our report. HIV Invisible Enemy. It lurks in shadows and thrives in secrecy. Many call it a death sentence or a mark of ungodly behavior. It can hide silently for years without symptoms, infecting lovers with an intimate embrace, mothers passing it unknowingly to their babies. It weakens the body's defenses until it can no longer fight back, opening the floodgates for diseases to invade and decimate. It has claimed over 36 million lives since its discovery only decades ago. But knowledge is power, though still without a cure. It is possible now to live a long and healthy life with this diagnosis with the right treatment and care. There is still no vaccine to eradicate it from claiming more lives. And for many around the world, medications remain out of reach, if they are even aware of the enemy living inside them. The stigma persists, and fear breeds misinformation that fuels its spread. This is an epidemic that thrives in the margins, but if we can bring it to light, empower those impacted, and continue fighting its spread through education and compassion, we can envision a future free from its grasp. There is still much work left to turn the tide against this devastating virus we know as HIV. But if we persist, progress is on the horizon. Let's start by separating fact from fiction, science from stigma. Only in openness, knowledge, and understanding can we overcome public health challenges that have a cellular sizes but global impacts. These are some of the insights about the poem. HIV is a hidden misunderstood virus that is seen by some as a punishment despite silently spreading through intimate contact and childbirth. HIV fatally weakens the immune system over time if left untreated, leading to life-threatening illnesses, though new treatments now allow the virus to be managed. Stigmatization of HIV persists, but the epidemic can be overcome through education, compassionate support for those impacted, and united public health efforts. Now, let's head to the next slide. What is HIV? HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. More about the disease. HIV is a virus that attacks the body's immune system. Specifically, targets CD4 cells, helper T cells, which help the immune system fight off infections, destroy and impairs these cells, making the bodies unable to fight off other infections and diseases.
HIV transmission. HIV can be transmitted via the exchange of a variety of body fluids from people living with HIV, such as blood, breast milk, semen, and vaginal secretions. People cannot become infected through ordinary day-to-day contact such as kissing, hugging, shaking hands, or sharing personal objects, food, or water. Most people get HIV through unprotected sex. You can get HIV if you have sex with someone who has HIV without using protection, like condoms or medicine to treat or prevent HIV. Another primary route of transmission is through sharing needles with a person who has HIV. Any other activity that can expose any individual to body fluids containing HIV may also lead to transmission of the virus. HIV can also be transmitted from a mother to her baby during pregnancy, birth, or breastfeeding. However, it is less common because of advances in HIV prevention and treatment. Signs and symptoms. HIV symptoms during pregnancy. Symptoms in the beginning stages of HIV may be hard to spot. Symptoms of acute infection may begin around 2 to 4 weeks after the first exposure to the virus. Symptoms are similar to those of the flu. Clinical latency stage. Clinical latency is when the initial symptoms have cleared, but the infection persists at lower levels. The infection is no longer considered acute, meaning severe and sudden, but is now regarded as chronic, meaning persistent. Late stage or AIDS. During the last stage, symptoms are mainly the result of opportunistic infections or OIs that occur when HIV progressively destroys the immune system. As a result, the symptoms can vary based on the type of OI you get, as well as its location, such as the eyes, lungs, or brain.
Diagnosis and testing. Under this, first we have the antibody test. Antibody tests look for antibodies in your blood. Antibodies are proteins your immune system makes to fight infection. These tests help your provider confirm a diagnosis of a wide range of diseases, disorders, and infections, including COVID-19. Next, we have a viral load test. It is a type of HIV test that measures the amount of HIV genetic material in the blood. It is used to diagnose an HIV infection, guide care, and monitor a patient's response to treatment. The test measures the number of HIV particles in a milliliter blood, also known as copies. The viral load test is also used to determine the presence and measure the level of hepatitis C virus in the blood. Last, we have a rapid diagnostic test. It is a medical diagnostic test that is quick and easy to perform. RDTs are suitable for preliminary or emergency medical screening and use in medical facilities with limited resources. They also allow point-of-care testing in primary care for things that formerly only a laboratory test could measure. Rapid diagnostic tests are serological tests that either detect antibody or antigen that an individual develops against the infection or the viral protein, example, the antigen of the pathogens. Treatment and management. The antiretroviral therapy. This controls virus from multiplying and destroying immune cells. Our treatment goals is to reduce viral load, restore immune function, prevent transmission. We have no cure yet, but these treatments allow those with HIV to live long and healthy lives.
Hi, this is Aryan, and today I am going to discuss about some preventive measures to help us prevent the spread of HIV. First and foremost is to have a comprehensive sex education and harm reduction of unsafe drug use. By sex education, it doesn't mean that you will be taught how to have sex properly. It's for the dirty minds. Sex education is actually an education based prevention program that is made to help young ones like you or people to prevent unwanted pregnancies and to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases like HIV. In terms of drug use, there are some drugs that are unsafe and could possibly bring harm to your body. So, some seminars or some preventive education programs can also help you to be aware of the drugs you use. Second is about the prevention tools like condoms, PrEP or pre exposure prophylaxis, and PEP or post exposure prophylaxis. In condoms, it is not only used to prevent unwanted pregnancies, but it is also used to prevent the the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. When it comes to PrEP or pre-exposure prophylaxis, it is usually taken by people to prevent or if ev- or by people who doesn't have an exposure to HIV. But if you do had an exposure and if you have been able to take PrEP, you could actually stop the spread of the virus with the help of the PrEP medicine. The opposite goes with the post-exposure prophylaxis because post-exposure prophylaxis are usually taken by people who have been exposed to HIV. But if you have been exposed to HIV, you have to take the PEP medicine within the 72 hours after the exposure, or else it would lead to worst. Well, next, of course, is the testing and counseling. Well, testing is not only required if ever you had sex, but testing should also be done for you to be able to know if you are safe or not. Testing is not actually made for you to feel like you are disgusting. It is actually made for you to have a clear mind. And for counseling, of course, it's kind of like being taught of or being taught to be aware or to be responsible of your actions. Lastly, and the most important, is to eliminate the stigma. People or patients diagnosed with HIV are people we should not look down upon. As beings or creations of God, we have an intellectual mind to be able to respect and understand their situation. It is our responsibility to respect them. It is our responsibility to give them hope, to give them light, not to discriminate or to make them feel that they are disgusting. Having HIV may be their fault, but it doesn't mean that that one mistake would be their entire personality. We should be able to give them hope because it is us who they can rely upon. It is the society who they can rely upon. We should not discriminate them. We should be able to give them the light they need to be able to overcome the challenges they are facing.
Millions have perished from the ravages of its vicious attacks, and millions more remain unwittingly infected. Is there no hope against this aptly named human immunodeficiency virus? Where are the superpowered antiviral heroes when we need them? Wait! Could cutting edge laboratories harness genetic wizardry to arm host cells with HIV resistant shields? Will emboldened antibodies march from the labs to neutralize the viral swarms? Or will diabolical HIV devise ever craftier ways to loot and plunder the security of cell membranes and human veins?
As the advancement of the world or of technology continues, there are some findings or discoveries or technologies that can be used to help cure diseases. Sure, HIV doesn't have a cure, but with gene therapy, we could use it as a treat or a cure for HIV. There are some potential ways that can help treat or cure HIV and if using gene therapy. First, of course, is the gene editing of host cells. While technologies like CRISPR could be used to genetically modify CD4 T cells and stem cells to make them resistant to HIV infection. This could create HIV-resistant immune cells to replace cells destroyed by the virus. We also have antiviral gene delivery, or it is a gene therapy that could deliver antiviral genes into host cells, conferring drug-like antiviral effects. This includes delivery of RNA, antisense RNAs, antibodies, and other viral inhibitors that could suppress HIV replication. We could also have the stem cell transplantation, harvesting stem cells from an HIV infected person, genetically engineering them to resist HIV, and then transplanting them back is another revenue. This could help reconstitute the immune system with HIV resistant cells. We could also have the functional cure or gene therapy may supplement other therapies to help induce a sterilizing or functional cure, completely eliminating or permanently suppressing viral reservoirs in the body without antiretroviral treatment. This could be done by enhancing host immunity or interfering with viral persistence.
The battle rages on as scientists race to decode the viral tricks that allow the HIV army to hide and persist. But armed with compassion for its victims, advanced therapies for those infected, and prevention and education for those still vulnerable. Humanity just may find the kryptonite to defeat this criminal, microscopic parasite.
Genetically modified organisms in treating or curing HIV. Genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, could potentially help treat or cure HIV in a few ways. For example, modified stem cells. Stem cells derived from bone marrow or umbilical cord blood can be genetically modified to make them resistant to HIV infection. These modified stem cells, capable of producing HIV-resistant immune cells, could then be transplanted into patients. Another example is engineered antibodies. Your GMOs can be engineered to produce anti-HIV antibodies. When injected, these antibodies can neutralize circulating virus particles in the blood and mucosal fluids, preventing the infection of healthy cells. Another example is modified lymphocytes, where anti-HIV genes can be inserted into lymphocytes, T cells and NK cells, to make them resistant to the virus. When reinfused back into patients, these modified virus-fighting cells can repopulate the immune system with HIV-resistant cells. Another example is microbicides production. GMOs can be harnessed to produce microbicides, which are antiretroviral drugs that can prevent sexual transmission when applied vaginally or rectally. Low-cost production through GMOs may expand access. Lastly, we have rapid testing. GMOs allow inexpensive and quick production of proteins for use in low-cost, rapid diagnostic tests to better track the spread of HIV, an important tool in management.
Stay hopeful, humans. With tireless efforts and scientific savvy, we can envision a future no longer haunted by the shadow of HIV. Despite taking millions of lives, the HIV epidemic has seen tremendous progress through antiretroviral treatment advancement and dedicated advocacy, transforming the prognosis from terminal to a manageable chronic condition. However, continued research into genetic therapies and and expanded access to prevention and destigmatization, efforts are still needed to eliminate this formidable virus. United through science and compassion, future free from HIV is within reach, but persistent collaboration across barriers is imperative to realize the vision of health equity populations.